The MLB offseason is just about to be done, with pitchers and catchers reporting just over a week from now. The Astros have made quite a few moves this offseason. Some I like, some I don't. We're going to talk all about it, as well as all of the promotional nights and other fun stuff that was announced earlier today. So let's get right into it. What's going on, Astros Nation? It's your boy Adam here, and welcome to this very long overdue off-season video. It's been a minute since I've really posted just about anything affiliated to the Astros. I mean, there's just been a lot of stuff that's going on. With Alex Bregman still looking for a team to sign it, with rumors, meanwhile, that stating that the Astros could potentially sign him. Albeit Dana Brown did say at FanFest a couple weeks ago that it would be a long shot. And speaking of FanFest, I did get a vlog for you guys that I am going to be trying to post sometime this week. I'm still working on it. But let's go ahead and discuss some of the Astros moves that they have done this offseason, starting with the two major trades that they have done. So the first thing they did was they traded away their two-time Gold Glover and three-time All-Star Kyle Tucker to the Chicago Cubs in exchange for one of their highly ranked third baseman prospects, Cam Smith. And also, I think two other prospects. I think one of those guys, he wasn't a prospect, but I believe one of those guys was Isaac Paredes. He's also primarily an infielder. So taking a look at this trade itself, the Astros benefit from this trade on paper because if you think about it, Kyle Tucker is actually going to be free agent after the 2025 season anyway. And given the fact that he's going to be asking for upwards of $300+ million, I mean, there's no way the Astros would be paying him that money. So now this time they're actually going to be trying something a little bit different and actually trying to trade him to actually get something from him. Whereas if they try to do it like, next offseason, it would be hard for them to do because then, he would walk away and the Astros would not be getting anything for him. Now, this is a strategy that has excelled for them in years past when they've let Garrett Cole walk away, George Springer walk away, and Carlos Correa walk away. All in consecutive years, mind you, and yet the Astros have still continued to keep winning. Part of that, of course, was because they had a couple of prospects waiting in the wings for them to join their major league system. Kyle Tucker, of course, was one of those prospects back in, early 2018. And, of course, 2019 was his first ever appearance in the World Series. So, when George Springer walked away in 2020, Kyle Tucker by then was ready. When Carlos Correa walked away, Jeremy Pena was waiting in the wings down in our minor league system, and he ended up going on to win a Gold Glove Award as well as World Series and ALCS MVP in his rookie season. But he has certainly regressed ever since. I'm hoping he has a much better season this year. Now, the part that I'm kind of sad about is the fact that Kyle Tucker is no longer here with us, which does lower our outfield depth by quite a bit. It's going to be pretty thin going into this season. Now, the part that I'm kind of sad about, again, is that Kyle Tucker isn't with us. Aside from the fact that it does shorten our outfield depth, or make it thinner, rather. It is kind of sad itself because Kyle Tucker, it was having an MVP caliber season, or at least that was the case leading up to his shin fracture that he had suffered in early June. Now, obviously, I would expect that to be more the case here. But again, like I said, I think that the Astros certainly benefit from this trade because the Cubs just gave away three of their best players, one of they're incredibly young and certainly expected to be very talented prospects for just 1 year of Kyle Tucker. And by the looks of it, it doesn't look like they're going to be paying him $300+ million this season. Or, who knows if they'll do it this upcoming offseason. But again, we'll see. The second thing that they had done was that they had traded away Ryan Pressly, who was a very, very big piece of their 2022 World Series winning team, going 4-0 in the postseason that whole year with 4 saves. He had saved all 4 games that the Astros had won in the World Series that year. Obviously, it was really sad to see him go. But considering the fact that we had to downgrade him from a closer role to a setup man, and he really did have a bit of a down year despite that. Some were saying that it's because Pressly is old and he's in his mid-30s. That could be true to some extent, but Ben Verlander, Justin Verlander's brother, had expressed this on Twitter in a more cohesive way, in the sense that before the Astros had signed Josh Hader the previous offseason, Pressly was feeling just like his old self. In 2023, even the year that we were defending our world title, he looked to be okay. But this season, he was anything but okay. I mean, like if I'm being honest, there were a couple of games that like he just straight up blew. He had such an awful start to the season. But I think the reason for his struggles this past season was because he was downgraded from his closer role that he has certainly been getting used to as of late, to more of a setup man. Because, I mean, let's be honest, there was no way we were going to be paying Josh Hader all this money to be a setup man. He was going to be the closer. And he certainly was a good closer despite having some bumps along the way. And I'll discuss more on him later. But like I said, I think this move might be for the best, us trading him to get readjusted to his closer role, to a team that is certainly on the upswing, certainly projected to be on an upswing and have more of an upswing season in the Chicago Cubs. I'm not saying that the Cubs are going to be, winning their division this year. Like, I don't see them beating the Brewers. But, again, we'll see. I do have my division picks just about set, and probably about a month and a half from now, you guys will see that video on who I think is going to be winning their division and making the playoffs, that sort of thing. You guys probably know the drill. I did release that video last year. But the third thing that the Astros had done was that in case that they could not sign Alex Bregman, they would have some contingency plans available in case he is signed elsewhere. But it's crazy to think that it's February already and he is not signed with a team yet. But I think that's probably because his asking price is well out of range for a lot of the teams that have proved to be interested in him. Some of the teams that I can remember off the top of my head that were interested in him this offseason were the New York Yankees, which I'm certainly glad they're not getting him. The Boston Red Sox, which also would have been a good team for him to sign with, because I know the Boston Red Sox are certainly going to be, they're reloading. But I think over time, they're just going to continue to be a pest here in the AL, especially here against the Astros and some other teams like the Yankees and also the Rays, who are certainly also going to always be a pest, even though they certainly had a down year last year. But also some other teams I know of that were in the market for him were the Toronto Blue Jays and even the Detroit Tigers, who I honestly who I actually have going pretty far this year. I would see that they're going to be poised to have a much better year this year. So, and I mean, I'm a bit surprised that the Tigers didn't want to get him. But the Astros' offer of $156 million, I think, over the next 6 years is probably the most competitive offer that they can give him. And it's crazy to me that he has neither accepted nor declined that offer just yet. But again, it's crazy to think that he has not found a team yet. And I mean, and I'm sure that a lot of people on Twitter or people who, like myself, who make these kinds of videos are getting a little bit fed up with having to talk about this. And because, it's because, again, the offseason started months ago, and he still hasn't found a team yet. Come on, Dana Brown and Jim Crane. Re-sign this man. He's very important to us. But another thing that I've also seen rumors floating around about is the fact that, if in the 1 in a million chance the Astros do sign Alex Bregman, Altuve moving to the outfield? That would be, that's a rather bizarre kind of thing, and it would be a rather strange sight to see him out there. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying that he's not going to do good out there, but the fact that this is even being brought up is kind of crazy. Now, personally, I think this kind of makes sense because given how our infield is going to be shaping up, we could have either, Cam Smith at third base, assuming he's able to make an opening day roster. I mean, Dana Brown did state the other day that he thinks that he has a chance to be an aircraft carrier, essentially, which, I don't exactly know what that means. But do I believe that Cam Smith is going to make the opening day roster? Probably not. Assuming he gets invited to attend Major League Spring Training Camp, and, hopefully if he gets some ABs this spring, we'll see how he does and what decision that factors into to him making the opening day roster. But again, we'll have to find out later. But another thing that the Astros had done was that they had signed free agent Christian Walker, formerly playing for the Arizona Diamondbacks, to a 3-year deal. Now, Christian Walker, of course, in case you guys were curious, he previously was wearing number 13 for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He did, of course, slip on to the number 13 at his intro presser earlier this year, but he's actually going to be wearing number 8 because the Astros had also announced today on Tuesday that Billy Wagner, who got inducted into the Hall of Fame, on his final year on the Hall of Fame ballot, they had announced that his number 13 is going to be headed up into the rafters. But going into the signing of Christian Walker, I think this could prove to be a good signing. I mean, the worst case scenario is that he ends up being the next Jose Abreu, which, I mean, God forbid that happens. I'm going to be a little bit sad. But hopefully this is going to be the high caliber first baseman that we have been looking for since we have jettisoned Jose Abreu. So that pretty much does it for just about all the offseason moves that the Astros have done. But real quick, I want to go ahead and get into some other details that the Astros had also done over the course of earlier today and this afternoon. The first being is that all of the Minute Maid Park signage will be turned over to Dakin Park by opening day. As early as, the work on that will start as early as tomorrow with some of the exterior signage being pulled down and stuff like that. And then, of course, later on, they'll go on to the interior. The next thing that the Astros had announced is that they will be unveiling their new City Connect uniforms for 2025. Because for those of you who may or may not remember, the Space City Connect jerseys that the Astros had worn for the past couple of years, I think since 2022, they had actually retired those after the end of last season. You guys can see, I don't know if you can see behind me, I have a Space City jersey like on the right side of my projector screen here directly behind me. Unfortunately, they are going to be retiring those jerseys, which is kind of sad. I really did like those jerseys and the overall looks of them, paying homage to the, Space City that the city of Houston is very much known for. But the Astros will be revealing those new uniforms next month before the start of the regular season, and will be wearing them on March 31st against the San Francisco Giants. It was a very hectic offseason for the Astros. They lost 4 key members of the 2022 World Series championship team. 3 for sure, likely 4. The reason I say 4 is because the fourth guy also includes Alex Bregman, who, unfortunately, obviously he has not signed with the team as of yet, but I think we fans can certainly assume that him signing with us is going to be a long shot. I hope I can make a video saying that Bregman did re-sign with the Astros. And, there were some rumors pointing towards that, but Dana Brown did also state that it was going to be a long shot. So, like I said, I'm so excited for what spring training is going to be offering us for this season. But in that rearview mirror, they had lost Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley, and also Justin Verlander, who I did mention earlier had signed a 1-year deal with the San Francisco Giants. The Giants actually come to Houston this year, so I'm actually kind of excited to see that. And then, of course, Bregman, like I said, still remains a free agent, is unlikely to return to the Astros. Meanwhile, Christian Walker, like I said earlier, will take over as the starter at first base. Isaac Paredes will likely replace Bregman at third base in case the Astros don't re-sign him. And then are we seriously going to be seeing Jose Altuve taking fly balls in left field? That remains a question to be answered and certainly a sight to be seen. But there's no doubt that the Astros enter spring training with a lot more questions that need to be answered that they have had in more recent years. But I am certainly going to be very excited to see this team in spring training, especially the young guys. And Joe Espada did also say that a lot of the young guys are going to be taking the field early and get a lot more playing time than some of the veterans will. Obviously, as we've seen in recent years, the young guys will get the early reps in the first 2 to 3 weeks of spring training, with the veterans getting more of their warm-up time towards the end. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new here. I'll be posting more Astros content throughout the course of this offseason. Hopefully, spring training starts in a couple weeks from now with pitchers and catchers reporting. Like I said, spring training starts in about a week from now. And I'm excited to see pitchers and catchers report in just a couple of days. We'll see what's in store for the team for spring training this year. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.